Good day, everyone. Welcome to our oral communication class. This is Miss Ira Bombase, and for today's lesson, we'll be discussing lesson 9, which is about the principles of speech writing. So, in this topic, we'll learn how to write an effective speech by understanding its different parts, the writing process, and the important guidelines you should always keep in mind. Our lesson today will be divided into three major parts. First, we'll talk about the parts of a speech. Second, we'll go through the speech writing process. And finally, we'll discuss the guidelines in speech writing that you can apply when creating your own speech. So let's begin with the first part, the major parts of a speech. A speech is typically divided into three main parts, just like how you structure an essay. These are the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. So each part has its own important purpose in helping your speech flow naturally and effectively. So let's start with the introduction. The introduction is the part of your speech where you introduce the theme or main idea. In here, you also express the reason or purpose for writing or delivering your speech. It could be to inform, to persuade, or to entertain your audience. Just like in essay writing, your introduction should catch the attention of your listeners. You can do this by using hook statements. So now the question is, what are the hook statements or what could be hook statements? For example, it could be asking a question, quoting someone, or telling a short story or personal experience. So these hooks help make your audience curious and interested in what you'll say next. The body of your speech contains your main discussion. This is where you present your key points, arguments, and supporting ideas in a logical and organized manner. You have to remember that your ideas must flow smoothly and clearly. Okay, so you can start from the most important points down to the least important, okay, or the other way around. It depends on your purpose and the time limit of your speech. In order to make your arguments stronger, use facts, figures, or real life examples that serve as your evidence. This makes your speech more credible and convincing. So, for the conclusion, this is the final part of your speech. It serves as your closing or ending. So, it should summarize the main points or arguments that you presented in the body. So, no new information should be added here because, again, this should just be a summary, okay, of your main points or arguments. So your goal is to leave a lasting impression on your audience. You can restate your thesis statement or your big idea, then end with something memorable. Perhaps, perhaps a thought, perhaps a thought-provoking question. No, it could also be a quote or a call to action. So I'll give you an example. Kung yung speech mo is about appreciating your parents, you might end up with, now, take a moment today to talk to your parents and tell them how much you love them. So, this is what we call a call to action, giving your audience a something to do after listening. Now that we know the three main parts of a speech, let's move on to the speech writing process. So, writing a speech is not as simple as it seems. It's an academic process which requires skills, research, and creativity. The first step in writing a speech is conducting an audience analysis. This means you have to understand who your audience will be, their age, their background, their interests, and even their values. So, knowing your audience helps you decide how to approach them. It guides your tone, language, and examples so that your speech becomes more relatable and engaging. So, wait. All right, next bullet. Next is determining the purpose of your speech. So you have to ask yourself, why am I writing this speech? Is it to inform, to persuade, to motivate, or to entertain? Being clear about your purpose will help you choose the right content and tone. So, for example, an informative speech would focus on facts, while a persuasive one would include arguments and emotional appeal. Once you know your purpose, the next step is to select a topic. If the topic given to you is too broad, try to narrow it down, paikliin, panipisin, into something more specific and manageable. For instance, instead of education, you might talk about the benefits of distance learning for senior high school students. So you have to choose a topic you are familiar with and passionate about. That makes writing and delivering your speech much easier. Okay, for the last bullet in the first block points I presented to you. So after selecting your topic, the next step is to gather information. Okay, so you have to do your research. You have to read books, articles, journals, or credible online sources that support your topic. Why? Because the more informed you are, the stronger and more credible your speech will be. So you can also include personal experiences or stories from other people as long as you respect their privacy. Now, after doing your research, now is the time to select a speech pattern. This means deciding how your speech will be organized and delivered. Are you going to read it by word for word, memorize it, or speak extemporaneously? Your speech pattern should fit your purpose, your audience, and the occasion. So, a well chosen pattern helps your ideas flow clearly from start to finish. Next is preparing an outline. An outline serves as your blueprint for writing your speech. So it helps you see the overall structure, your introduction, your body, and your conclusion, and the supporting details for each part. So outlines also help ensure that your ideas are arranged logically and that your transitions are very smooth. Okay. So in writing the speech, once you have your outline, you can start writing your speech. It's usually best no to start with the body first since this part contains your main points and evidence. So after completing the body, you can write your introduction and conclusion so that they match your content perfectly. This approach saves time and helps maintain consistency in your message. After writing, you must edit or revise your speech. You have to check your grammar, your punctuation, your sentence structure, and transitions. It's also a good idea to ask someone else to read your speech to get an outsider's perspective and, of course, feedback. So, revision, bakit kaya kailangan pa natin mag-revise? Kung tapos na naman yung speech na ginawa natin, revision actually helps makes your speech clearer, more accurate, and more powerful. Finally, it's time to rehearse. Okay, do not forget to rehearse your speech. Read your speech several times until you are comfortable with it. Practice your tone, pacing, and gestures. If memorization is required, of course, you have to make sure you internalize the message and not just the words. The more you rehearse, the more confident and natural you'll sound when you deliver your speech. So the next one are the things to consider in writing a speech. Now that we know the process, let's move to the things to consider in writing a speech. These are practical reminders that will help you make your speech more effective and audience centered. In choosing a topic, you have to make sure again to narrow it down, just like what I've mentioned earlier. Kung masyadong malawak ang topic, ang points na ilalagay ninyo, you have to narrow it down. Just include the most important ones. Okay? And ensure that it fits the knowledge and interest of your audience. Also, consider the demands of the occasion and the limit or the time limit given for your speech. Choosing the right topic is the foundation of a good and meaningful speech. Always consider your audience, okay? Your topic should not be too common or too familiar. It must be something that still sparks their curiosity or offers them new insights. You have to make sure that your topic is relevant and essential to your listeners. And most importantly, of course, your speech must meet its purpose. Okay? If it's meant to inform, it should educate. If it's meant to persuade, it should convince. Next, consider the occasion where you'll deliver your speech. You have to take note of the date and time, the audience size, and the type of program and the venue as well. Now, for example, a speech for a graduation ceremony will sound different from one at a classroom presentation. The occasion helps you determine your tone, your formality, and of course, your delivery style. A successful speech must have a clear and definite purpose. So your purpose should also fit your audience's needs and interests. Without a clear purpose, your speech will lack direction. So always ask yourself what you want your audience to feel, learn, or do after listening to you. When gathering materials, there are many sources you can use. You can use the library, books, the internet, other people, and even your own experiences. Just remember, you just have to remember to always use credible sources. Check if the information comes from reliable authors, organizations, or academic sites. And then we have to do this because this ensures that your speech is accurate and trustworthy. In outlining your speech, creating an outline makes your writing your speech much easier. Okay, it helps you arrange your ideas logically and ensures that your points are actually connected and coherent. Okay, according to Atienza, 1997, an outline should contain 2 to 5 main points and should adequately cover your topic in relation to your purpose. So outlining keeps your speech focused and, of course, organized. When organizing your ideas, you can choose among these three organizational patterns. Okay, but before that, let me just share with you what are the other guidelines on making outlines. So this is according to Atienza 1997. So just a continuation from what I've said earlier. Of course, should contain between 2 to 5 main heads and should cover the subject of the speech adequately in relation to its purpose. Okay, so let's proceed here in choosing an organization pattern. Again, when organizing your ideas, you can choose among these three. The first one is time order or chronological pattern. This means arranging ideas based on when they happened. That's why it's chronological. Chronos, time. Okay? The second one is spatial pattern. This means describing things or places based on how they appear in space. And lastly is topical or topical pattern. Okay. This means dividing your main topic into several subtopics you wish to discuss. Okay. So you have to choose the pattern that best fits your topic and purpose. Now, in writing your speech's introduction, okay, you have to remember that this is your first chance to capture your audience's attention. You can begin with a real life experience and connect that experience to your topic. And if you don't have a personal story which fits to your topic, you may also use practical examples or observations that are relatable to your listeners. Another great strategy is to start with a strong or familiar quotation. And you have also to explain how it connects to your subject. Okay? So you may also use facts or statistics, which highlight the importance of your topic. And of course, you can tell a short story or anecdote, either your own experience or someone else's, in order for you to illustrate your point. The goal, of course, is to hook your audience, make them curious, and make them want to listen to you more. You have to remember that your introduction sets the tone for your entire speech. Okay? Now, in writing your speeches body, okay? For this one, actually, this is where the bulk of your information will go. Okay? Kung napansin nyo kanina, nakalagay sa body is the discussion. Okay? So for this one, you always have to remember that it should contain your main arguments, your supporting evidence, and of course, your explanations. You have to be sure to organize your points clearly. In order to make your ideas flow smoothly, you can use transition words and phrases such as, however, what else? In addition, okay, pwede rin namang on the other hand, o kaya naman ay as a result, what else? You could also use meanwhile. Okay? So what's the importance of these transitions? Actually, these transitions show the logical relationship between one idea and another, helping your listeners follow your message easily. And for the last part in writing your speech's conclusion, your conclusion should be brief but powerful. It's your opportunity to leave a strong impression on your audience, something that will make your words stay with them. You can refer back to your introduction, especially if you started with a question or story, to give your speech a sense of completion. So you can also pose a challenge, no? Katulad talaga sinabi ko kaninang example, or a call to action, something that encourages your listeners, no, to think or to act after hearing your speech. So for example, if your speech was about appreciating family, you might end by saying, after this class, I challenge you to take a few minutes to call your parents. Not because it's required, but because it's something that truly matters. Okay? So that's how you make your conclusion memorable, short, emotional, and thought provoking. Always remember that your introduction attracts attention. Okay? Your body explains and supports, and your conclusion inspires and stays in your listeners' minds long after your speech ends. Okay. So we're done with our lesson 9. If you have questions or clarifications, you can message me directly on my messenger on or in our Facebook GC. Okay? Again, that concludes our discussion for lesson 9, the principles of speech writing. Remember that an effective speech is not just about the words, it's about purpose, structure, and connection with your audience. So always plan carefully, write with intention, and speak with confidence. Thank you everyone for listening and goodbye.